Yo, welcome to Weird Growth, the podcast where we hear about the strange and often unpredictable journey that founders take. Conversation doesn't stop here though. If you want to stay one step ahead and unlock access to exclusive insights, thought-provoking summaries of our latest episodes, and a curated collection of valuable resources from across the web, don't miss out on Ammo Marketing's monthly newsletter. Please subscribe by the link in the description. I'm your host, Cam Sinclair, and this episode we have Charlie, who's the co-founder of Personr. It's a fast-growing privacy tech startup that gives people control over their digital identity and helps businesses stay compliant in an era of data breaches and AI-driven risk. It's a bold and important mission, and today we're going to hear how they're tackling it. Charlie, welcome to Weird Growth.
Thank you, Cam. Yeah, bold vision and very strange growth. So I'm looking forward to unpacking and talking about it.
Yeah, and that's what this podcast is all about. Is really every startup has a different journey, and you can't predict what's going to work and what's not. You've just got to be in it to give it a crack. So I'd be lovely to hear how you've been going about that over the past few years of Personr. Mate, please introduce yourself and tell us how you've come to do what you do.
Brilliant. Great story as well, so I'm told. I'm Charlie, one of the co-founders here of Personr, and the way we sort of really started was a few years ago now. I actually had my identity stolen.
No way.
Yeah. I only found out after I went for my first car loan.
Wow.
And was, of course, declined, but later found out that I had 60 fraudulent credit inquiries on my file. 60.
60.
Average is like 1 or 2 a year for the average person. I had 60 fraudulent. Ended up having to engage credit lawyers after that. Mm-hmm. Spent tens of thousands with them. I think it was about 13,000 with credit lawyers who basically contact the companies that have put those inquiries on your file to remove them, but it's still at the discretion of the companies whether they sort of remove them or not.
How stressful.
Anyway, that's pretty much how Personr was started. Nick and I sort of got together. We're school friends. My co-founder, Nick. We got together and Personr was born in 2021. We actually just celebrated our 4th anniversary.
Wow.
4th birthday.
Happy birthday. That's impressive, mate. So what was the mission that you set out to achieve with starting Personr?
So the mission really is about fighting financial crime. We call it fighting financial crime, one verification at a time.
Lovely rhyme.
It's got a nice ring to it. But ultimately, I mean, for those that don't know, APAC, sort of where we sit in APAC, is the worst in the world for money laundering and terrorism financing.
Incredible.
$1.3 trillion a year gets laundered through APAC.
You're kidding.
No. I wish I was.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I wish I was.
Wow.
But it's the worst in the world, so it's worse than the Americas and Europe as well. So we set out to fight financial crime, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, good on you.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, but alongside that, also helping businesses to onboard their customers and comply with money laundering sort of legislation and obligations as well.
Yep. Massive need. So, yeah, well done. Very interesting. Before we get a bit deeper into how you're doing that, I've got a little pop quiz which I ask founders on Weird Growth. And the thing about founders is they always have other ideas at the back of their head, but their focus is on their startup. So I love this question, which is, if you were to start something fresh and new, just hypothetically today, what would it be and who would you be helping?
Yeah, wow. That's a really good question. I come from a telecommunications background.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I've never been happy with my mobile provider. I don't think you have.
I don't think anybody
anyone
has.
Yeah, we were just talking before the podcast how it took 4 weeks for my new phone to arrive. But I would probably go into the mobile telco space.
Fascinating. Yep. Big room for disruption there. And I have a new S25 Samsung phone, and I've just been recently traveling out in the bush. And I didn't have any phone reception, but I got a little satellite logo in the top bar of my phone. I was like, what is that all about? I could send SMSs, but I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't get data. I couldn't make phone calls. Turns out, Starlink. So Telstra now has a backup Starlink SMS service for emergencies. That's obviously the future, is we're not necessarily going to have terrestrial phone network anymore. And you're going to be able to get coverage anywhere in the world, which is super exciting. So can't wait for that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Great answer, mate. So let's get back to Personr. What was the sort of catalyst and that aha moment that of what you actually needed to build?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, we didn't build. We talk about strange growth, right? I don't think we built Personr off of the back of a business problem like most startups should.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
Explain.
You should go out and confirm that what you're building solves business problems before building it. Please.
Sounds like you experienced a pivot.
Yeah, I mean, naturally in our 4 years we've had a few pivots, but the defining moment for us was when the government announced what they call the Tranche 2 AML/CTF legislation.
Okay. Yep. What's that do?
Put really simply, that's basically the government saying, or it's the government expanding the current AML/CTF legislation and requirements, business requirements and obligations to 100,000 new businesses in new industries.
Wow.
So it's basically the government saying, we do AML/CTF and, we require businesses to sort of verify identity and, prevent fraud.
Is that what you know as KYC, know your customer kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, know your customer, anti-money laundering, exactly right. That's sort of one part of a business's obligation under the Act. Mm-hmm. And there are quite a few industries that currently have to obligate to that, but the government's come out and said that there's a whole host of new industries that now need to obligate to the Act. So real estate, accountants, financial advice already have to obligate, high-value dealers, law firms especially as well. Mm-hmm.
So practically for them, they need to actually go through an identification process with their customers to make sure that they are who they say they are, essentially.
That's exactly right. Or in the case of a business, determining who the sort of ultimate beneficial owner of that business is.
Right, interesting.
Which can get quite, I won't go too deep down the rabbit hole, but it can get quite complex if you've got a business that has sort of 10, 20 layers in terms of like a really complex structure to find the ultimate owners, like who control the business. Yep.
So what's the pain point for them when they're, now we've got this new requirement from the government. Thanks very much, government.
Yeah.
What do they have to do to comply with that? What's the pain point?
That's the age-old question, isn't it? Just imagine you are a small business, maybe a small accountancy firm, law firm. Mm-hmm. The government's just whacked a whole load of obligations that you have to comply with, otherwise you get fined. How do you comply?
Yep.
But that's where we come in. Okay. So everywhere from AML program creation, which determines procedures and processes for managing that risk for onboarding customers, to identity verification, to independent reviews of that program and the whole lot.
Okay.
Personr helps with. So very much that end-to-end AML compliance.
Yeah, amazing. Practically, what does that look like from a business's point of view? So we sign up with Personr, and then what happens from there?
Yeah, so sign up with Personr. We usually do what we call like an onboarding call. So we get to know you, your business, whether you currently have anything in place that allows you that, under your obligations, whether you do have things in place currently or need us to sort of advise and help with that. And then the platform allows you to then sort of put those obligations on autopilot as well, and onboard customers in the meantime.
So almost like build that process into your business flow and the way that you deal with your customers.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, awesome. How good. Well done. How did you find your first customers?
That's also a really good question. First customers, we cold outreached relentlessly. And I'll go into sort of what we did for our initial customers sort of early on.
Yeah.
But because that's a wild story and strange as well. But we cold outreached relentlessly, cold emails, cold calling, knocking on doors, everything that we could to get those initial customers, just to prove that what we had meant something. And it worked. It worked mainly within the financial advice space, I will say.
Yep.
But it worked.
Yeah, well done. And what was your value proposition to them? I mean, it wouldn't be the easiest thing to cold call for, right?
No, but I will say that when something is required of a business, like it's not really a negotiable, and we ease that pain point dramatically, it's a lot easier. So essentially helping them with their customer onboarding, and whilst they're doing that, if they then need to sort of generate reports or audit reports that go to AUSTRAC, who govern the legislation, they can generate those through the platform as well. So it's very much sort of keeping their bases in check. But yeah, it's actually easier than you think because it's a requirement, not a nice to have. Nice.
Yeah, that's traditionally been the difficult thing about selling sort of security type products, isn't it? It's like a pain pill that you don't need yet. It's sort of I don't have this problem yet. Fair enough, I might have it, but you know, it won't happen to me, so I'll be fine. So thanks, but I don't need that security product. But if you've got something where there's actually a force happening and a need now, and it's hurting my business now, or it's making life difficult for my customers now, then that's something that's a lot easier to say yes to, huh?
That's exactly right. Yeah, and it is that age-old mentality of I don't need it now, I don't need it now. Whereas with anti-money laundering, you have to. So,
well done. What was the reception like early on to those first customers?
Really good. So those first customers were on an MVP.
Yep.
Naturally, we're a startup. MVP, continually iterating based off of customer feedback. Back then, we couldn't verify businesses or do anything close to what we could do now. It was very much just identity verification, and that's it. So send a link out, customers will upload their driver's license, and then you get the results.
Yep.
But the reception was good, and that's what sort of prompted us to keep going and keep iterating on that feedback, adding new things in, new services, new add-ons, until we sort of became this. There was a sort of moment in the road of the journey where we were like, well, we're not really just an identity verification service anymore.
Yeah.
So that's when we sort of changed paths a little bit to that end-to-end.
Yeah, that bit just becomes a feature, and the whole sort of service wraparound is the thing, which is the value.
All managed through the one platform.
How good. How are you, maybe you can't tell me, but how can you verify that someone's ID that they've uploaded to the platform isn't just someone's stolen identity, card?
Yeah, good question. There's a myriad of ways you can verify identity, and I won't go into the sort of super detail, but the government has an identity database.
Okay.
It's called the Document Verification Service, and it's actually managed by the Department of Home Affairs.
Interesting.
That stores all of your passport information, driver's license information, basically every government-issued document they've got stored. What we do is we use OCR technology to extract that information off of a particular document. But whilst we're doing that, we're also checking to see if the image that you've uploaded is graphically edited, has it been edited in Photoshop, forged, is it a fake ID? There's a few different things that go on in the background.
Cool.
And then we obviously check that information with various different sources. The DVS is just one of them. And then provide that information back to you in the sort of case of approved or rejected.
Fascinating. That's cool. And then what did you learn? What was the real lesson that you learned from those early customers? And how did you get that feedback from them that actually we've got this whole other expanded opportunity to work with you in a sort of more end-to-end
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that as a founder, even as your business is scaling, stay close to the problem and be comfortable with discomfort. I think is great advice, because in the early days, and we still do now, I'm still very close and connected to customers nowadays. We actually hop on weekly calls with our customers still to get that feedback. And,
great.
we're talking, we sort of service smaller businesses with, under 5 employees all the way up to ASX listed sort of companies now. But we still make time to hop on calls with those customers. But that's what we did back in the early days as well. And that's one of the things that as we scale, we really don't want to change, because it works and it directly impacts our product roadmap, because it makes sure that we're building what solves our customers' problems.
Yeah, so important. Get comfortable with discomfort.
And there will be discomfort along the road. I can't tell you how many times you sort of don't want to hop on a customer call, but you kind of have to.
Yep.
Or even internally as well, you just have to be comfortable.
What sort of questions do you ask to get towards that discomfort? So we just, in terms of like when we're getting feedback from customers, we generally dive deep into their actual business processes. So we don't even ask anything to do with the platform initially, at least. Good. Yep.
We dive really deep into their business processes, and we almost try to become part of their team. So people that they can lean on, that seem internal, like employees of their company. And that's sort of how we go about it, to really learn and understand their business. And I remember in the early days, we literally hopped on internal team calls of our customers.
Awesome.
And we sort of just acted a bit like as an external employee. So it's really about understanding their business processes, so that we can say, okay, well, but if you do something this way with the platform, that resolves what you're talking about internally. Or it might be that we can't understand a particular feature request until we've seen that discomfort in action within their business.
Sure, yeah.
So,
that's so smart. Yeah, being able to embed yourself into their team's awesome.
And we as we have scaled, we've deployed that to our team as well. So our team hop on weekly calls with customers. They're a part of our customers' team.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how we go about things.
Interesting you brought up the word scale, because it doesn't sound like something that is scalable, to be able to continually, have that one-to-one interaction with your clients. What's the plan there?
For the larger customers, so what we call our sort of enterprise customers, they have dedicated account managers who look after a set amount of customers. They'll definitely be able to have set times during the week to catch up with those particular customers and continue being a part of our customers' team. For smaller businesses, we generally, it's a good question, because how do you scale that? It may more likely become a industry. You might have an industry representative that is a customer.
Yep.
So just in terms of, say we have financial advice, accounts, real estate customers, pick a few from each sort of cohort of our customers in those industries and have them form a bit of an industry advisory group, so they can continue advising us about what needs to happen on the platform.
I love that you've obviously built your business around that continual feedback loop. That's so good. Well done, mate. That's really cool. Let's get a little bit tactical now, just from a marketing point of view. What are some of the things you're doing now to grow awareness about what you're doing with Personr as a broader sort of marketing activity?
Yeah. As a RegTech company, regulatory technology compliance is boring.
Yep.
So we sort of sat
Well,
down.
not to you, not to everyone, but
no, not at all. I live and breathe it, but the whole team does.
Yep.
But we sort of sat down, and as a brand, you sort of look out at other companies doing maybe similar things, but it doesn't. Those brands don't stimulate you. They don't excite you. It's still boring. Sure, they may provide a particular service, but there's almost no brand there. Like, there's no personality in that brand there. So what we wanted to do, we sort of sat down and said, how can we make Personr as personable as a brand as possible? And so now that sort of translates into, I'm sure you've seen our memes on LinkedIn. I mean, a compliance company posting memes, like, what's that? But it works because compliance officers are people too. Chief risk officers, they're people too. Like, they enjoy a good laugh. Just because they're reading legal documents all day or AML programs or, dealing with fraud all day doesn't mean they don't like a good joke.
Yep.
So that's sort of the way that we're building our brand, through events, through brand personality, and tactics like that.
Yeah, very good. So LinkedIn's your channel, right?
It would be a primary channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sort of misconception a lot of people have about LinkedIn, is that it's a B2B, platform. But actually, as you say, it's all about relationships and trust. And LinkedIn is a person-to-person channel. And having those, more human interactions with people is a great way for B2B companies to get that brand awareness.
Yeah, because that's exactly right. Because you're not selling to a business, you're selling to a team or a person within that particular business. So yeah, spot on.
Big time. How do you see Personr evolving from here? What's the big opportunity you see in the next few years, particularly with AI? Things are going to get more difficult from a security point of view, obviously.
Yeah, AI in our industry AI is complex in general, but AI in our industry is, I would go to say, a little more complex than usual, because we have to take into account the data that we're dealing with is identity data. It's super personal.
Yep.
It's personally identifiable information. So if we allow AI to sort of decide who gets approved or rejected, or depending on where we put AI sort of within a particular workflow, the amount of assessments and training and privacy impact assessments we have to do on that, the question becomes, is AI ready to determine whether someone should be approved for a car loan or a bank loan, or, who are we allowing it to decide that?
Interesting.
However, AI providing contextual awareness around the data that we already sort of provide, I think has huge upside potential. So just things like, let's say you run a check on somebody and they came back as a politically exposed person, or they're on a sanctions list, right? You might go, what does that mean? Like, that's great. Like, congrats, they're a PEP, they're on a sanction, but what does that mean?
Yep.
Can I still service them?
Yep.
As a business? Can I have them as my customer, or like what do I do? So having AI provide a bit more contextual awareness around that information as to what your potential next steps could be, or just providing more information on a particular hit, I think has great potential.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so it's basically taking some of the grunt work out of the research side of things so that you're more informed to then make the human decision which needs to be made.
Exactly right. Right. But I don't think we're quite there yet in allowing it to have full control over decisions just yet.
Beautiful. What does success look like for Personr in the next 3 to 5 years?
We have some big goals.
Good.
We have some big goals. Look, we're a WA Perth-based company redefining compliance nationwide. So,
brilliant.
To start with, that's pretty bold. Look, in the next 5 to 6 years or on the horizon, Persona's going to grow quite a lot. We are really going and trying to help as many of those what we call Tranche 2 industries as we can. But that also bleeds into sort of everyone that has to comply with the AML.
So your accountants and your financial advisors.
Yeah, even payments companies, crypto, it sort of expands around that. Looking forward into the future though, international expansions on the horizon.
Exciting.
So moving into APAC.
Yep.
Probably via Singapore, if I'm honest, just due to the nature and the time zone. And then growing our presence in APAC as well. So really becoming a leader in the compliance space, compliance and onboarding especially, because we do make, even as a company now, when we speak to potential customers, we do make people think about compliance differently. And I think that has really strong value to it.
Well done. Exciting. You guys earlier this year announced a raise with Fund WA.
We did.
What can you tell us about that?
We raised from Fund WA. So for context, 2023, we were in the sort of +8 accelerator, which is great. Spent 2024 really nailing down, building, completely locked in, like with our customers, basically. And then early 2025, earlier this year, announced a raise with Fund WA. Can't speak too much on it right now, and I know it's only been a few months, but we're also about to announce another raise.
Exciting.
As well.
Yeah, good.
So very exciting times ahead, and just the sheer fact that we've raised so soon after our seed round. Is a great indicator.
Sounds like things are moving
That's what I can say at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear more about that. It's exciting, Charlie. Well done. That's great. What's one big piece of advice you have to founders who are starting out and looking to grow?
It's a really good question. And look, I understand the founder dilemma and the founder problem. I would go back and say and reiterate about being comfortable in discomfort.
Good.
But I will also say to founder, because I don't really want to provide advice that is already out there, like you're going to get a million no's if you go and raise, because that is true, but you've already heard that before. What I will say is, though, is the narrative is your leverage. So narrative is your leverage, and it's your winning chess strategy at the end of the day, I think, as a founder.
So by narrative, you mean the story that you're wrapping around your brand and what you're offering?
Yeah, even your personal brand, but also the sort of startup brand as well. But if you can't tell your story simply and in an engaging way, nobody else is going to do that for you.
Yeah.
But being founders that tell engaging stories and can craft that narrative really well, end up with the best talent, the best investors, the best customers. It works really well. So narrative is your leverage, and it's that winning chessboard.
No one's given that advice before. It's really good. I love it. It's great from a marketing point of view as well. Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think stories are so important to attracting funds, customers, cool stuff?
Yeah, I think it's down to us being human. We naturally connect with stories more on a personal level. So it sort of bypasses that sort of business mode that we're all in, and it naturally makes people connect personally. I think it goes down to that just human connection.
100%. I don't normally ask this, but what's the question that you wish I asked?
That's an interesting one. No, I wasn't expecting that, actually.
Because as a layman, reg tech, fintech, all that sort of thing, apart from the consumery side of things, it's a little bit opaque. Like we know that it's out there, we know it's important. we hear about bank breaches and, cybersecurity, issues all the time, but it's, again, human nature to sort of just go, okay, well, that's something I don't want to think about too much because I don't want it to happen to me.
RegTech's an interesting one. And good question, because I probably wish that you would have asked, why does your industry matter? Or why does what you're doing matter? Because sure, I mean, identity stolen, that's all well and good. It's not well and good, but it happened. But like, it happens to a lot of people, unfortunately. But what we're doing is a lot bigger than that.
Yep.
What people don't realise is when criminals launder money, that might be through real estate, for example, buying a house in cash, sitting on it, selling it sort of in a few years' time. But when criminals launder money, that goes straight into terrorism financing, human trafficking, child trafficking, pretty bad things.
Yeah, horrific.
And the NASDAQ releases a report every year, and it's got some awful, awful stories in it.
Yeah.
So what we're doing as a brand and even as an industry, RegTech as a whole, where we sit within, is a lot more than just helping companies become compliant and onboarding customers. It actually has individual human meaning and impact, because the more that we can prevent someone from onboarding with a business and then sort of exploiting that business to launder money, that's one person that's saved from human trafficking, sex trafficking, child trafficking.
Brilliant. So important. That's a great answer, Charlie. Thank you. Something we do on Weird Growth is show and tell time. So that's where I love hearing what your favourite tool, device, app, toy, whatever it is that you're obsessed with recently, something you can't live without.
Yeah, okay. So I recently got given a subscription to Perplexity Pro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
For those that don't know what Perplexity is, imagine ChatGPT mixed with Google, essentially. Great app. But they've just come out with a new browser called Comet.
Okay.
And it's Perplexity. It's a Perplexity-powered browser. And it's essentially agentic AI within your browser.
Amazing.
So you tell it what you want to do, and it will go off and do it for you. You can watch it do things as well.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah. Look, I only use it on my personal sort of devices, and I don't let it log into sensitive things because I don't quite trust it just yet. But seeing the rate that sort of technology is moving at is incredible. Yeah,
no, this is definitely the next step with, everyone's familiar with GPT and, large language models and things, but when it can actually start taking actions on your behalf, that's the game changer. Like, this is when things start getting exciting. Yeah, that's very cool. All right, so Comet is the browser. Comet. And that's Anthropic that own and run Perplexity. Is that the same?
Anthropic is Claude.
Oh, Claude, sorry.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
gotcha.
Perplexity is just
its own.
Perplexity.
Yeah, I used that early on. Yeah, cool. Very nice. Thanks for that, mate. Very cool. It's been a really interesting chat, and congratulations on everything that you and Nick and the team at Personr has achieved. It's been awesome seeing you. We met early on at +8, and it's been incredible watching the journey since then. And fantastic that you're doing this out of WA too, frankly. Like, it's
WA
very cool.
base, that's it.
Yeah, West represent. Charlie, thanks so much for being on Weird Growth. Is there a final plug or ask or anything that people can do if they're interested in getting involved?
Final plug, if you are looking or sort of wondering what on earth you need to do to comply with AML/CTF legislation, or if you just want to chat about financial crime, the whole team at Personr lives and breathes this stuff. Please have a chat. We'd love to talk about it.
Amazing.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks so much for being on Weird Growth. And thank you for listening to Weird Growth. Don't forget to subscribe if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're just listening to this, Check out the video as well. There's 2 beautiful camera angles on YouTube or on Spotify. And if you enjoyed the chat, please do leave a review. My name's Cam Sinclair. This has been Weird Growth. Bye-bye.